Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really beautiful story from Hindu mythology, the tale behind Tulsi Vivah. Now, this is a festival that celebrates the marriage of a god to a plant. And the reason why, well, it's this incredible story of devotion, a pretty wild deception, and a promise that lasts forever.
So let's start with the big question, right? Why on earth is a plant ceremoniously married to a god? The answer is buried in this ancient, epic tale of devotion, trickery, and divine love. It's a story that gets right to the heart of this sacred tradition.
All right, so to really get this, we've got to meet the main character. This whole story revolves around a woman named Vrinda, whose faith was so pure and so strong that it could, and I mean literally, challenge the gods themselves.
Our story kicks off with Vrinda. Now, she was seen as the absolute picture of purity and what's known as a pativrata, a wife whose loyalty and devotion to her husband are so complete, they actually become a source of immense spiritual power. And for Vrinda, this power was pretty much limitless.
Okay, so Vrinda's husband was this super powerful demon king, Jalandhar. He was a force to be reckoned with, for sure. But get this, his real strength, the thing that made him invincible, wasn't his army or his weapons. Nope, it came directly from his wife, Vrinda, and her incredible purity.
This is the key to the whole story, you guys. As long as Vrinda's devotion to him was perfect and unbroken, Jalandhar was invincible. No god, no weapon, nothing in the entire universe could touch him. It's like her faith created this unbreakable, invisible shield all around him. But, as you can imagine, having an invincible demon king running around, well, that kind of throws the whole universe out of whack. The gods were getting desperate, which leads to a major turning point where divine intervention had to step in, and it did so in a really unexpected and kind of sneaky way.
The gods, they were totally stuck. They just could not defeat Jalandhar in a straight fight because they couldn't get past that powerful shield created by Vrinda's devotion. They needed a different plan, and fast.
So what happens next? Lord Vishnu, the one whose job it is to keep the universe in balance, comes up with a really tough plan. He decided to disguise himself, to take on the exact form of Jalandhar and go to Vrinda himself. It was a massive deception, but he felt it was necessary to restore cosmic order.
And thinking her husband was home, Vrinda went to greet him. And that one single, tragic moment of mistaken identity, her sacred vow was broken. Just like that. The second that happened, poof, Jalandhar's shield of invincibility was gone. And that's when the gods could finally defeat him.
So when Vrinda finds out about the trick, and that her husband is gone, her grief is just immense. And what happens next is this incredibly powerful exchange that turns this absolute tragedy into an eternal tradition.
Completely heartbroken, feeling betrayed, Vrinda focuses all of that grief and all of that righteous anger right at Lord Vishnu. The very same spiritual power that once protected her husband was now aimed like a weapon.
With all her power, she hits him with a curse that he will become a stone, lifeless and cold, just like the grief that had filled her heart. And because her purity was so absolute, this curse was so powerful that even a god like Vishnu couldn't just brush it off.
Now, what's incredible is that Lord Vishnu just accepts it. He accepts the curse. But then he offers her a boon in return, a divine gift, really, to honor her devotion and to kind of rewrite her tragic ending. He tells her, "You will be reborn on earth as the sacred Tulsi plant." And to honor their connection forever, he promised that he, in his new stone form, the Shaligram, would marry her every single year.
And there it is. That's how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So you have Vrinda's curse, which turns Vishnu into the Shaligram stone. Then you have Vishnu's boon, which turns Vrinda into the Tulsi plant. And what's the result? Their divine union, the promise that becomes Tulsi Vivah.
And that brings us right back to today. The festival of Tulsi Vivah is that very symbolic marriage between the Tulsi plant and the Shaligram stone. It's a beautiful reenactment of that divine promise, a celebration of the devotee and the divine that happens every year during the Hindu month of Kartik.
Okay, so beyond this being just a really incredible story, it carries some deep spiritual messages that are still super important in Hindu culture today.
So what's the big takeaway here? What are we supposed to learn? First, it's all about the unbelievable power of pure faith. It also explains why the Tulsi plant is so revered. It's not just a plant, it's seen as the living embodiment of the goddess Vrinda.
And finally, it seals their eternal bond, which is why, to this day, it's said that any worship of Lord Vishnu just isn't complete without an offering of Tulsi.
And really, that leaves us with one final pretty profound thought. This whole story is about the power of devotion. A power so strong it could make someone invincible, curse a god, and create a tradition of divine love that's lasted for centuries. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Just how powerful can faith, true, unwavering faith, actually be?